Okay, let's do it. Boom, Greg. You been getting much sleep, babe?
What day is today, Joe? Is it Friday yet?
Exactly. Yeah, I swore yesterday, like all day long, it was Friday. It was weird, and I was kind of bummed when I realized it was Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, and long
what
weekend.
Makes it sad is Monday was a holiday.
I know. I know. Long weekends are really long.
Tell me about
how
it.
you doing? Yeah, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Yourself?
I'm surviving right now.
How's little man doing? And the little princess?
Yeah. Let's thread that needle carefully.
Oh.
I'm not ready for that. No, he's doing great, getting big, getting strong. And the big sister is having a blast.
Sweet. Does she like is she like pretend like she's a mommy at all? Like I remember my kids used to do that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, she's doing that with her stuffed animals and trying to give hugs and kisses, and I want to hold him. I want to go, which is nice. A little different, but glad it's get to enjoy it before they're fighting with each other, right?
Yeah, my two little ones. They're super close with each other, but man, can they on a dime just go from being happy to fighting? It's like, Jesus, guys.
I was enjoying this for 30 seconds.
Yes. Sweet. So big announcements happened this week in the Rat Weaver community, right? People, what we've been waiting for a long time, and we can finally start talking about it. Right?
We've been hinting about it for what, 6-8 months?
I know, right? Man, we've had the beta forever, and I've been good. We haven't talked about it on the podcast. I don't think I've leaked much, have I? I don't think I have.
Oh, we're gonna get an email saying,
"Oh man, yeah.
On this date, this time,
at this time, go to this timestamp, Joe. You're a rat." Yeah. But Stacks 4 release, baby. Yep. Everyone, if you haven't noticed, if you're not a frequently user on Weaver Space or the Real Mac forums, Isaiah posted a bunch of videos about the Stacks 4 beta, and if you want early access right now, he has like a Patreon supporter where you can pay for early developer access. Else you might have to wait. I don't think you have to wait too much longer, especially now that he's released all these videos publicly now. So he's talked about I think 5 or 6 little features, and then he has 5 big features, and we're going to review all those today, right?
Yes, might be a long show. I managed to split it up.
Yep.
There's a lot here. There's a lot here.
So let's start with the little features. I think that's probably a good place to start, right? What's your favorite little feature?
Figuring that I'm finding that I can't read anything on my screen. It's going to sound lame, but dark mode. I don't know if it's a lack of sleep or getting old, but one of the two. Man, my head's been killed. Yeah. Dark mode.
Yep. Are you running your Mac in dark mode right now?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a dark mode user too. I really like it.
Yeah, I can't go back.
Yeah, every time I go back, it's like, oh Jesus, that's bright. Yeah. The only thing I find, like at nighttime, like there are some web pages, even like the Weaver Space community, that because it's still white and it's just like, that's really bright, and I'm not sure what to do about that. But yeah, dark mode's really cool. Have you played much with the dark? So what's cool about the dark mode that Isaiah did inside Stacks is that it's very configurable, right? So
yes,
by default, like everything's dark. Right. So you got your library. Basically, Stacks is broken up into three panes, right? You have your library, the main like edit window in the middle, and then the settings pane on the right. And so by default, all of those are dark, right? But luckily, Isaiah is wise enough that he gave us some preferences, because I don't like that default myself. I prefer actually having the document part in the middle white. So I have that still themed light, but I have the two panes on the right and left, the Stacks library and the settings pane, both in dark mode. How do you do it?
Right now, dark, all in. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea either, because it's probably more common, but more common as in more reflective of users, sites that you're going to see.
Yes, exactly.
What users are going to see. So it's not a bad idea, but right now I stash it all dark and try to focus on the area, the content I'm editing, instead of the rest of the stuff.
Cool. I do want to give one little clue for Foundation users, if you don't mind, Greg, if you're using dark mode. If you are in dark mode and you're using Foundation, inside site styles, depending on how you're styling your site, there is a button in there called Preview Background. You probably want to turn that off if you like that middle section dark. That's a quick little tip. There's already a checkbox. It's been there for 5 years. That will turn off the preview of the background inside site styles. And I find that if you like that middle part dark, turn that off and things will work probably more like you expect. So little tip there for beta testers and people that are using Foundation. So Greg, moving on, my favorite feature. Okay.
Yes.
I think it's probably the cool new notes and the ability to change the title of a stack. So now inside most stacks, inside every default stack, and if a stack uses the default settings, so if you see like the default settings from a stack, you'll notice that at the top of the settings now, you have the ability to change the title of the stack, which changes it just for that instance of a stack in edit mode. So the little label that you have inside edit mode, that little blue pill label, you can actually add data to that, right? So I like that. And then you can also add you could type your own notes as well, and those will show at the very bottom of the stack. So kind of a cool feature. I like it. And actually, one other quick thing that's semi-related. Before, Stacks 3 has 3 different view modes. There's the tall, grande, and venti, which is what they're called in the code, but people don't know that, right? And Stacks 4 removes the tall and the grande. We only have venti view because so many people would accidentally go from like the venti view to tall and not know what happened, and things looked differently and they were confused. So Stacks 4 only has the venti view, which is the view that probably most everyone uses, that has the blue labels for every single stack inside edit mode.
Yeah, I never use those other modes.
Yeah, I baked into I tried to get users to use the tall mode, which is the view mode that's all the way on the left, which is like the minimalistic view. If you've built a site with Foundation and then you switch to the tall view, it looks damn close to preview, actually. So I kind of used it as a quick preview, and not really anyone ever used that feature. But it is cool. It does work, but it's gone in Stacks 4. So, oh well. I can remove the code now.
Yeah. What about editing partials?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even know this was a feature until Isaiah did the video. I actually learned about this one. So right now, if you want to edit a partial, the partial has to be on a page, and then you have to double click it inside the edit mode, right? And then you enter the partial editor. But now what you can do is you can actually double click on the partial when it's in the library. And so it can be in the library. It doesn't need to be on the page at all. And just double click. You said partials, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you double click on the partial in the library, it'll open the partial editor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, I thought that was pretty handy. So you don't have to dive down into that separate UI and have lose context to what you're working on, where it goes, what you're writing, especially if you're writing like marketing material and you have, the content there and the rest of the, your image next to you. So,
Yep. Or a lot of times, the default partial names are kind of funky, right? It's like partial, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever it is. And a lot of times if you're looking at your library and you see partial and some numbers, you're like, what in the heck is that? Right. So what you can do now is you could just double click it. You could see what it is, and then you can change the name. Right. So that's really, really good. So yeah, it's a minor thing, right? Just double clicking in the library, but I think it's really useful, super useful.
Yeah. Yeah. That is nice. In the code, does it still generate the same unique IDs for all the classes and IDs and everything?
Yep. All the classes and IDs are still the same. We still have all the IDs. I tried to get Isaiah to take that ID and then just apply, instead of applying it as an ID, just throw it in the class field. So yeah, it's a unique class that might only be applied to that one thing, but that I don't know. I thought that would have been cool, but yeah, all stacks still have IDs.
Why? What would you do with something like that?
Because there are some things like, let's say like a slider, for instance. If you have stacks inside of a slider, and some slider libraries use clone, right? To clone, so you could do like infinite looping. And if you clone, HTML DOM elements, a lot of times those functions will strip the IDs, so it doesn't have duplicate IDs. And because there's no IDs on there, none of the CSS works, right? So because the IDs got stripped, right? So there are just some edge case scenarios where it could potentially be nice to not have IDs on things.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of like applying CSS is probably faster with the IDs than the CSS classes.
Yeah, for the parser, it could be. I mean, is that going to be something that you and I would really notice? I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
That sort of stuff is so fast nowadays,
Yeah. No, I mean, just, yeah. No. All right, cool.
No, but you are right. Like, technically it is faster to apply styles to an ID than it is to a class.
Yeah. And I can see Isaiah not wanting to break anything. So,
yep. Yeah, exactly. And backwards compatibility and all that stuff, right? Because every stack out there right now is based off, or most of them are based off IDs, right? So, yeah, I the more I thought about it, I can understand why that wasn't going to happen. But man can dream sometimes.
Yeah.
So next one, speaking about CSS classes, is Isaiah allows us now to add our own custom classes to a stack. Pretty interesting. Now, not just us as a developer, it's actually the end users. So you guys, you can add your own classes to a stack so that if you're a power user and you know a little bit of CSS, you can really start doing some powerful stuff because you can target stuff with your own classes and all kinds of stuff. So that's a pretty interesting feature. It'll be interesting to see how power users use that and exploit that for their own purposes. So that's a fun one. I'm kind of interested to see how many users embrace that.
Yeah, I haven't tried it. I wonder if you can break it and add in illegal characters in there.
Hacker.
Just curious how much sanitation Isaiah does there, but it'd be fun for me to try.
But anyone, if you want to apply multiple classes, just everyone, so you would just do class name space class name space class name. So you can apply multiple classes. So if you like, class red space circle or something like that, right? And then that would apply background color red and border radius 100% or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful though, right? If the theme already defines that CSS class.
Yep, that is true.
If some stack already defines it, you may want to prefix your CSS classes with your initials or something like that.
That's good. That's a good point. Very good point. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, you probably don't want to label something like close or open, like some generic class that chances are some stack out there is using .close on a button or something like that. And it may, give you some unexpected results. Good shout. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So JW circle, JW red.
There we go. Good point, man. Everyone, I think Greg is smart. See, you're still on point, Greg.
I think it's because you're wearing a red shirt. I just blares to keep me awake.
We have one more little feature on our list that was don't publish a stack. Have you played around with that one much, Greg?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
I usually edit pages, not individual ones.
Okay. So what this is there's a bunch of stacks out there. I had one called Locker that I actually removed from my site. It's no longer available. And what it did is it allowed you to add stacks to it, and then it wouldn't publish those stacks, right? It would keep it in edit mode. But there were some drawbacks, and these drawbacks are why I removed it from my store, is that the CSS and JavaScript for those stacks that you put inside my Locker stack would still get published, right? Yes, if you're using anything like that, I think there's another one out there called Backpack. Stop using those, please. Especially in Stacks 4. Now, Isaiah added a checkbox. I think it's in the responsive layout settings that says, do not publish this stack. And if you check that, it actually does it the right way, which it couldn't be done the right way before because there was no APIs for it. So right now, if you have a stack to the page and you check that box, none of it gets published. And all of its contents too. So if you have a whole column and you check that box, that entire column and everything in it won't get published. None of the JavaScript, none of the HTML, none of the CSS, nothing. So that's a cool one for people that want to do that because you want to do that.
Way to get really, really deep there, Joe.
Deep, yeah, that was deep. Yeah, very good.
Which might be great for people editing sites, working on draft content, those or if you're beta testing.
Yep. Yeah. If you're testing a new thing and you're like, let's turn. Actually, another thing is like, if you want to debug why something might not be working on the page, this is actually a good use case for it. I didn't even thought about this. Like if something's broken on the page, just start checking this on other stacks to kind of remove them from the page without actually removing them from the page, right? To kind of see how it affects other things on the page, right? So it's a good debugging tool, actually. Never even thought of that. That's a great way of debugging a web page. Sweet. I like it.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. Hat tip, Joe.
Hat tip. Thank you. Okay. Tit for tat. Okay, Greg, we're now on to the big features. Why don't you go for feature number 1?
Well, this is your chance to do a drum roll. Do you want to take that opportunity?
Oh man, drum roll. Go, Greg.
My favorite one, or you want to take the first one?
Whichever one. I don't care. You pick.
All right. My favorite one, probably site images.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are site images?
Site images let you retain one copy of an image used throughout your site. So if you have a banner, if you have your profile image, if you have product image that I use throughout my site, you only have one copy on the site. So all of those instances that you use can be referenced to that same image. So now you don't have to publish 10 copies. You don't have to have that browser hit for every single image that you load that's different. So now your browser will cache it. So it speeds up your site, speeds up your publishing, decreases your website size. Win, win, win.
Sweet. Yep. So in case anyone didn't know, right, if you just drag and drop an image into Stacks right now in version 3, essentially what it does is it creates an image. But let's say you copy and paste that image, even if it was on the same exact web page, you actually have 2 images getting published, even though you think it might be the same image. It's not, right? That image gets published twice. And if you use that image on, like, let's say in your footer, right? Let's say even in a partial, let's say you have some images in a footer partial, and you think that it might be using the same image on every page. Nope. It's using different images on every page. So that image gets uploaded every single time, right? And in Stacks 4, we now have a site image. And by default, if you drag and drop an image directly onto the Stacks edit mode, it becomes a site image. Now, this is a RapidWeaver 8 only feature. While Stacks 4 does work in RapidWeaver 7, RapidWeaver 7 does not have the site image feature. The reason for that is the site image feature uses RapidWeaver resources. And RapidWeaver 8 has the API for that. RapidWeaver 7 does not. So that is why, and actually, so if you create a site image inside Stacks 4 and you open up your resources in RapidWeaver, you will see that image in the resources because Stacks uses that resources API. So, and one more thing with site images that we actually lose is, in Stacks 3, the normal image stack, if you double clicked on the image, you could opened up this image editor where it could you could resize the image, or you can even do some manipulation, which I never personally ever used that ever, because I always try to optimize my images before I ever add them into RapidWeaver first. But yeah, that's gone with site images. You don't have any of that image editing stuff. You get what you drag in. So it is very important that you pre-optimize your images before you add them to the project. And we've done several episodes already on optimizing images, so make sure you check those out.
Yes, we have. We have. Also, good image editors, Acorn, Pixelmator, and the other ones you want to add. Affinity. Yeah, I've been trying to use Affinity more lately, Greg. Mostly because they have iPad apps now, so I thought it's kind of cool, starting some work on my Mac, and then maybe I'm on my sofa and I can open up and actually work on a project on an image on my iPad on the sofa. It's been actually kind of interesting. I'm learning how to use the app. It's been fun. Okay, my next favorite feature is multi-selection. I have to say, I am loving that so much. And it's really powerful. So now you can actually select multiple stacks, and you can move multiple stacks at the same time, and you can select multiple stacks, delete them. It is a godsend. It's really, really cool. And Isaiah actually went to the nth degree here. And if you select multiple stacks of the same stack, you can actually change the settings on those stacks as well, right? So let's say you select two different two column stacks. You can actually change the split or the border settings or whatnot on them so that they're the same. That's really cool. I didn't expect him to do that. I would have been happy with just straight multiple selections, so I could delete multiple stacks at the same time or move multiple stacks and stuff like that. But that thing of changing the settings on multiple stacks at the same time, that's pretty slick. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And I know in 4.1 he plans on having multi-select in the library as well, so you can multi-select. Maybe I'm leaking information. Sorry, Isaiah. But it is in the public issues thing as a feature request. It is publicly known. Not many people know where to find it probably, but it is open to the public.
Joe's lasted this long. He couldn't keep it all a secret. He's only human.
I'm only human. Hey, Greg. Next feature is yours.
Next feature is mine. I like the new text editing.
Okay.
I would say it's concise, it's focused. The controls are directly there in the text editing field that you're working with. For those, it's hard to describe in a podcast, but when you guys see it, I'm sure you guys like it too. It keeps your library, your edit UI clean and together. And, when you go to edit, you're focused, and the correct relevant controls are right there at your fingertips.
Yes.
So everything is well put together.
Yep. Yeah. What I like it is, I think the number one thing I like about the new editing, now there's both the style text editor and the markdown editor, also the HTML editor, right? So there's 3 different styles of the editor. They look very similar, but they're 3 different styles, right? They have different toolbar buttons. But what I like about them is the horrible problem before is if you had like very little area to edit your text, let's say you had like a 5-column stack or something like that with text in it, and you double click the text before in Stacks 3, like it was kind of hard to edit that text. Like it was almost impossible, right? But now the new editor kind of jumps out and it gives you a lot of space to edit that text, no matter how much space you actually have inside Stacks edit mode. That is really cool. And what Greg says about the buttons being all there, that's really cool too. Like in Stacks 3, like all the buttons are either at the very top of the Stacks edit mode, like towards the top of the WrapWeaver window, and there's some other buttons at the bottom of the WrapWeaver window. But now they're all within the little editing window now, so they're much easier to use. Isaiah completely rewrote a whole new custom UI for it. It looks really nice.
Yes, I agree. Yep. He went above and beyond.
Yes. Next one is library customization. And a lot of people have been wanting this. Pretty simple, right? We can now have custom libraries inside the Stacks library, right? So custom groups. Sorry, not custom libraries, custom groups. So, the little, before you could add, you could create custom groups before, but they were always a folder icon, right? And that kind of sucked, right? So now you can actually change the icon. You can access the entire Font Awesome library. You can choose what icon you want. You can even change the color of them. So that's really cool. So now you can have all kinds of fun icons on the sides, so that you can customize your library groups. Yep, not much more to say about it. I mean, it's pretty simple. Like it's you've always been able to create custom groups, but now you can actually assign your own icon and color to them. So really exciting there.
Yes. I think that leaves us with one more.
One more. And that is the biggie. I think
that is the biggie.
Externals and templates.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Right? You want to give a crack at explaining what an external is, Greg?
An external is a partial that you can share between projects.
Ooh, that's exciting. Yes. So there are a lot of users out there that I know what they would do before is they would create a WrapWeaver project purely to store partials, right? Because they had partials they wanted to use across multiple projects. And you no longer need to do that because you can actually save a partial and it actually shows up as a stack. You can actually show it in Finder and it shows up as a stack in your library. It creates a folder called externals within the Stacks folder. And you can see all of your externals there. And really, really cool. It could be a little dangerous, though. And Isaiah does a great job in his video. Make sure you check out his video. He talks about some pitfalls of why you might want to be careful with externals. Because if you're using it, if let's say you build an external in website A, and then you also use that external in website B, but then you're like in website B, you want to make some changes. But you forgot that you did that when you go back to website A, and those changes are now reflected in website A, right? So you have to be careful. Whenever you modify the external, it will be modified for all projects, right? So definitely need to be careful of that. But very powerful. I'm excited to see how people use these. Now, one thing I'm excited about is because me as a developer, I can now start shipping this stuff, right? Now, what me as a developer, or us as a developer, Greg, what we could ship is actually a template, right? So we can ship read-only partials, which are effectively called templates, right? So what that means is it behaves exactly like what a partial is. I can pre-build a layout with a bunch of settings and all that stuff, but you can't edit it. What you can do is you can unpack it, or you can convert it to a partial or convert it to an external if you want. But that's really cool. I'm looking forward to that. I've been wanting to, templates were actually a feature in Stacks 2, and they kind of failed, and they're coming back in Stacks 4. And I think this implementation is spot on. I think they're really going to take off now because they're really easy to create. If you know how to create a partial, you can create an external and a template, right? So really cool, really powerful stuff there. and us developers, we can actually ship those as a part of our stacks. So to kind of give you pre-built layouts and pre-built setups for our stacks. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes. Being able to provide demos for people is really, really, really important. It's time consuming sometimes. So
yes,
being able to make it a little bit easier it'd be really helpful for everybody.
Yep. So cool, Greg. I think that wraps up. We've gone through every single awesome new feature coming up in Stacks 4. When is the beta going to drop? Who knows, everybody. Keep a watch out on Weaverspace and also the Real Mac forums. Isaiah will let us know. But if you want early access now, go ahead and hit up his Patreon page. I think you have to give him like $10 and you can get early access to it now if you really, really, really want it. So, Greg, any last closing thoughts on Stacks 4?
Well done, Isaiah. I know you've been working hard on it for the last few years. So good luck, dude. And congrats.
Yep. Yes. I am in full in debt to Isaiah because, I get to do what I love because he makes awesome software that allows me to do what I do. So thanks, Isaiah. Even though I bet you he's probably not even listening. If you're listening, Isaiah, I'll give you $1,000 right now.
I'm just going to send him a little Slack message here. Hold on a second. Life pro tip. Listen to the next Weaverspace podcast and buy yourself a new set of tires for your car. Courtesy of Joe.
So, Greg, where on the interwebs can we find more about you and your awesome software?
ChiliDogSoftware.com, ChiliDog Hosting, and at Barshard on Twitter. How about you, Joe?
Sweet. I am at Joe Workman everywhere, but you can find me and all of my cool products at Weaverspace and at Weaverspace everywhere. Check out our YouTube lives. I've been doing those every week. I would do 15 weeks in a row this week. I've been doing a YouTube live. So those have been going really, really well. People have been liking them. So I did a fun one on SEO this week. It was really cool. So hopefully everyone's enjoying those. And I appreciate all the feedback that I've been getting as well. So, and as always, if you have feedback about this show, send us an email to feedback@weaverradio.com. We would love to hear your questions. What more do you want to hear about from us on this podcast? What topics do you want us to cover? What do you want to learn? We would love to hear your feedback and what you'd like us to talk about, or maybe some guests. Like if you like, hey, I want to hear this person on the podcast. Maybe we can get a guest on. Have our first guest, Greg. That'd be fun.
Enough for $1,000. Isaiah better be coming on here.
Amen. Okay, dude. So thank you very much, guys. We will talk to you soon. And thanks for being an awesome listener. Bye.
Thanks. Cheers.
Okay, we're done.